Sports.
We are Fox. We are Arizona.
Sunday in San Diego, D-backs baseball, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. And today going for just their second ever three-game sweep at Petco Park. A chance to finish 5-2 on this 7-game road trip as Padre legend Trevor Hoffman goes into the Hall of Fame today. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Petco Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. After a disappointing split in Chicago to open up this road trip, a nice consolation prize would be a sweep here in San Diego. And Bob Claybuckholz gets the baseball today.
His ninth start for the Diamondbacks, his second since coming back off the disabled list. And if his first start back off the disabled list was any indication, he is ready to roll. You see the numbers against a very strong offensive ball club in Chicago. Clay Buchholz totally in command in that game. The one run he gave up was a solo home run.
He's up against left-hander Joey Lucchesi. We've seen Lucchesi twice this year, his two pitching lines against the Diamondbacks. He's got that goofy delivery and that curve he throws.
Yeah, unusual looking delivery, unusual looking pitch. Back on April 22nd, walks were an issue for Lucchesi. Back on July 6th, pitched a pretty solid ball game, struck out 5, only walked 1 in that game, both losses.
D-backs in San Diego looking for a sweep. Back from Petco Park after this, it's Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
Fox Sports Arizona from San Diego as we await the third and final game of the series and road trip. Diamondbacks looking for the sweep of the Padres, as Steve with the Padres just mentioned a moment ago. I'm Todd Walsh inside the Diamondbacks dugout here. Bit of a late start, and obviously, as we just talked about on Diamondbacks Live, the pregame show, a special day, the most revered day in baseball. It is Hall of Fame induction day in Cooperstown, New York, and there's an Arizona flair to this on a couple of levels. Obviously, first of all, former Padre Trevor Hoffman, the first Arizona Wildcat to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. He just showed his speech here at Petco. The great closer, the great changeup. But there's another connection. We'll take a look at the rest of the class of 2018 and look to the far right. Former Diamondbacks coach Alan Trammell and Jack Morris, teammates with the Detroit Tigers, and that means former teammates of Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo. Back at Petco, and Torey Lovullo joins us, manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is one of the most cherished days in baseball. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony is going on in Cooperstown. Great connection, obviously, with Trevor Hoffman here, but also sort of like Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation to you. There's some connections here. So can we start with your former teammates, Jack Morris and Alan Trammell, going in?
You always do the best stories. So I really appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about those two guys, because they were tremendous athletes and good people. And when you're recognized for a lot of the special feats that you've done on the field, you get enshrined in Cooperstown, it's an unbelievable day. And I know that those guys are going to have a great time. They go in together, and they're good friends, and that's what makes it even more special.
How about Alan Trammell, for the young infielder? I believe he was 30 and you were 22, excuse me, when you made your debut. What did he mean to you?
Well, there was so much stability. When you looked at him, I knew the track record, and I was a fan of baseball before I signed. I was newly signed, and the fact that I was in the big leagues with such a tremendous baseball player threw me off a little bit. And once I got to know in my short time there with him that month that he was a good man, he was a good human being, I could sit down and have a conversation with him. And those of us that know Alan Trammell know that he's a very special guy, and he made me feel very welcome.
What about Jack Morris and just the will to win as a pitcher in that era?
He had a tremendous heart and an incredible ability to compete no matter what the circumstances were. A couple of things that I remember about him was he was pitching to every situation. In a 9-1 game in the 6th inning, he wasn't going to waste pitches. He's going to throw fastballs right down the middle and say, go ahead and beat me. But when I need to, I'm going to stand on my stuff, and I'm going to figure out how to get you out. And there was nobody better as far as I was concerned.
And they are under the umbrella from another Hall of Famer, the late, great Sparky Anderson, who I know will be looking down on that event, don't you think?
Yeah, with a big, huge smile on his face. And Sparky has such an incredible blueprint on so many Hall of Famers and so many people inside of this game today and always. And like I said, the fact that they're going in together, I know Sparky's going to be there with both hands saying, those are my two boys.
All right, one final nugget on this. I want to dig a little deeper. Your Major League debut, September 10th, 1988. We've talked about this before at Yankee Stadium. Here we go. Jack Morris was the starting pitcher, and you came in, and Alan Trammell was in the infield. Do you remember any specifics about that? You told me the great story about the tunnel.
Yeah, I walked down the hitting tunnel, and Yankee Stadium. It was a very overwhelming feeling for me, and I get into Yankee Stadium, one of the meccas in this game, and Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson, and Don Mattingly were in one hitting group, and I thought, oh my God, I don't belong here. What am I doing? But there's a couple Hall of Famers in that group there, and then I ended up being in the same dugout with Jack and Sparky and Alan. I remember Sparky coming down and telling me, look, Torey, my boy, welcome to the big leagues. You're going to hit at some point in this game. Just make sure you're ready. So I had my engines ready. I was revved up, and I ended up getting a base hit in my first at-bat, which I was very proud of.
Thank you, Torey.
As always, thank you, Todd.
Great story from Torey Lovullo. By the way, a footnote, several Diamondbacks players and coaches came out to watch Alan Trammell's speech. They put it up on the big board here at Petco, and no surprise that Trevor Hoffman went out of his way to mention Jerry Kindle, the late, great Jerry Kindle, his former coach at the University of Arizona, and the late, great Kevin Towers, his former general manager with the San Diego Padres. So, Hall of Fame weekend here, of course, celebrated in San Diego, and that is the Diamondbacks and Arizona connection here on Fox Sports Arizona. Take a short break. We'll come back with more. Right about time for first pitch. Third and final game. Up to the booth we go. Steve Berthew and Bob Brenly have the call. Arizona and San Diego. And it's next.
Day, the U.S. Army and Army National Guard Appreciation. Here's Specialist Dana Clark of the U.S. Army Training Center in Fort Irwin, California, to sing our national anthem.
Rise to remove your caps as our veterans in the crowd salute the flag. Presenting our nation's colors today, the United States Army San Diego Recruiting Company Color Guard. Next, from the U.S. Army Training Center, Fort Irwin, California, please welcome Specialist Dana Clark. Please sing along as she presents the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs. Score free Jumbo Jacks. Only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. Military Appreciation Day on this Sunday in San Diego. It's the D-backs of the Padres, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. A gorgeous getaway day. Not a cloud in the sky, 84 degrees. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Todd Walsh with you. It's the Diamondbacks 4-2 on this road trip so far, and a chance today to close it out with a 3-game sweep in San Diego. It would be just the D-backs' second ever 3-game sweep at Petco Park, their first since April of '06. And here's the Diamondback lineup today, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
New day, new lineup for Torey Lovullo. David Peralta will lead it off today out in left field. Ketel Marte playing second base. Paul Goldschmidt will be at first. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Steven Souza Jr. back in the lineup in right field. Nick Ahmed will be at shortstop. Chris Owings getting the start at third base today, with John Ryan Murphy behind the plate for right-hander Clay Buchholz.
D-backs playing well lately. They've won 5 of their last 7 games. They've won 18 of their last 25 on the road. And I have a feeling I know where you've gone for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
I think anybody that's watched any of our telecasts after winning the first 2 games of a series know that the key on the third game is to sweep.
That would be a nice way to finish off this road trip after what frankly was a little bit of a disappointing 4-game split in Chicago, but so far so good for Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks here in San Diego.
You know what was really disappointing about the split in Chicago was the fact the Diamondbacks outplayed the Cubs in all 4 games of that series. I mean, you can't take away 2 home runs in the 9th inning, including a walk-off by Anthony Rizzo, but up until that point, the Diamondbacks had outplayed the Cubs in every one of those games.
It was D-back Eduardo Escobar pictured right there, getting the day off today, just a chance to sort of collect himself mentally and physically after a pretty hectic last 24 hours. You can see he's very stressed.
There must be a sign on our camera down there on the third base side that says, "Look here." Steven Souza mugging to the camera last night. We saw David Peralta and Ketel Marte behind Todd Walsh helping him with the pregame show. And now Eduardo Escobar having a little fun. What a shock.
Well, it's a loose bunch. 10 games over 500, a game and a half behind the Dodgers for the NL West lead. And right now, LA is only 1 or 2 outs away from getting no hit in Atlanta. 1 out to go for lefty Sean Newcomb. The Braves lead Los Angeles 4-0, 2 outs in the 9th inning, and Newcomb is throwing a no-hitter.
I believe it's Chris Taylor, the hitter for the Dodgers, with 2 outs and a 1-1 count.
So that's what's going on in Atlanta. We'll keep an eye on that, of course. Here in San Diego, it's the Diamondbacks and the Padres. And your Ram truck starting pitcher for San Diego right there, rookie left-hander Joey Lucchesi. 25 years old, 5-5 in 15 starts, a very respectable 3.34 ERA. And we've seen him twice this year. He's got the quirky delivery and that unusual breaking pitch that he calls a churve.
Yeah, really, the churve is by far his best secondary pitch, but really one of only 2 pitches that he uses with any amount of frequency. He'll throw a fastball, he'll throw that change-up curve or churve. Does have a curveball, rarely uses it.
Padres, the worst team in the league. They're 23 under 500. Here's their defense presented by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Travis Jankowski, after catching a wave this morning before coming to the ballpark, he'll be out in right field. Manuel Margot in center. Will Myers in left. Christian Villanueva at third base. Freddie Galvis at short. Carlos Asuaje at second base. Veteran Eric Hosmer at first. A.J. Ellis doing the catching today for the lefty Joey Lucchesi.
San Diego 18 games behind the Dodgers, last in the National League West. Brian Knight is our plate umpire this afternoon, calling the balls and the strikes. Pat Hoberg at first base. Ryan Addison, our second base umpire. There's the crew chief, Alfonso Marquez. He's at third. Well, the D-backs 6-3 this year against the Padres, and going for the 3-game sweep here this afternoon. David Peralta is set to lead us off, and we're underway. And Newcomb just lost the no-hitter in Atlanta with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Yeah, ground ball through the left side. Diving attempt by Johan Camargo at third base, but just couldn't quite get there. Sneaks through into left field for the only base hit of the game against Newcomb.
Braves leading 4-0 over LA in the 9th. And Peralta set to get us started here in San Diego. David at 286 and 16 home runs.
You know, partner, sometimes there are tip-offs as to who's going to be in the starting lineup on a given night if you're around the hotel. And this morning I woke up about 8 o'clock, looked out my window, and John Jay was in the swimming pools. So I kind of figured that John Jay was going to get the day off against the lefty today.
And he's on the bench for Torey Lovullo. There's the Lucchesi delivery. Very relaxed bunch right now. I think that's a very good sign. These guys are goofing around in the dugout, having some fun with Todd and the camera folks. It's a loose bunch as we head into August and September. The stretch drive is coming up.
Yeah, I might not have recognized John Jay had it not been for his University of Miami shorts that he was wearing in the pool, orange and green.
You can spot him from way up in your penthouse suite in the hotel. Representing the U. 2-0 on Peralta. David last night 0 for 4 with a walk. That snapped a 5-game hit streak for him. And you'll get a good look here at Lucchesi, that unique delivery that he started really back in high school in California. He's a California native. Bounced to second for Carlos Asuaje. He went to college at Southeast Missouri, and that's when he started to stretch his hands way up above his head in his windup, a lot like Clayton Kershaw does. And then he follows it up with that big leg kick. There's some deception there as he hides the ball behind his back.
And we've showed you in his previous 2 starts against the Diamondbacks when he does extend those hands up above his head. If you peek into the glove, you can see him go to that unusual changeup curveball grip, the churve.
Here's Ketel Marte, the second baseman, bats in the 2-hole today. Fastball misses, 1-0. Marte 249, 9 homers. 3 hits and a walk in the series. He's doubled twice. That was the churve. Technically it's a changeup, but it sort of looks like a curveball. That's where you get churve from, the changeup curve.
Some of the statistical websites, if you look at Joey Lucchesi's previous starts, they'll list them all as changeups. A couple games they're listed all as curveballs. So call it what you will. Very effective off-speed pitch for the Padres left-hander.
He holds the ball like a circle changeup grip, but instead of just throwing it like that, he spins it like a curveball. So it's kind of a changeup slider, changeup curve.
Yeah, if you can picture a regular circle change, you would lead with the palm of your hand. If you throw that churve that Lucchesi does, you lead with the heel of your hand. Very odd.
Everything about Lucchesi is odd, but he's effective. Putting together a very respectable rookie season at 5-5 with a 3.34 ERA. He just missed a month with a hip problem. He is 2-3 in 6 starts since he came off the DL. It was a right hip strain. 2-2 on Ketel Marte. Churve misses in, and it's full 3-2 with Goldie on deck.
Anytime you get the core involved in a pitcher on the mound, it's going to cause issues if you have some kind of a problem. But if you watch Lucchesi lift that right leg so abruptly and violently, if he had some problems with that right hip, you can see why it would really affect him out there on the mound.
Full count, 3-2. Fastball down low. Marte went fishing that time. Dodgers have lost. Newcomb loses the no-hitter but gets the win. So the Braves beat Los Angeles 4-0. D-backs with a win here can pull within a half game of the division lead. Rockies are home against Oakland today. The Giants hosting Milwaukee. This is popped up behind the screen and out of play.
Bright sunshine here in Southern California, as you would expect, and judging from the shadows on the field right now, probably affect the guys in the middle and move around to right field as the afternoon goes on. But it's going to be tough for everybody in the early going.
It is a spectacular day here in San Diego. Bright, sunny, very comfortable, mid-80s. Fastball misses up. Marte works a 1-out walk. That'll bring up Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie batting .277, 22 home runs. 3 hits and a walk in the series. He had a pair of RBI singles last night. Jumps on the first pitch, but yanks it foul. Got the fastball.
Now, Lou Casey, first time through the order, will challenge both righties and lefties. A lot of fastballs to start the sequence, and it's like the Diamondbacks are well aware of that fact. Goldie jumping on the first fastball he sees.
Lucchesi had success against the Diamondbacks this year, sort of chipping away with that backdoor breaking ball to Cherv. Goldie launches one down the line in left, and that ball is gone. 3 batters in, 2-0 D-backs. Into the Western Metals Supply Company building, and the left field corner is 23rd of the year.
Goldie was 3 for 4 with a double before that at bat. Starting to claim ownership of the Padres left-hander. That ball was a rocket down the left field line. Another fastball belt high inside part of the plate, and he belted it.
That's a jumbo jack. Free jumbo jack tomorrow with Jack in the Box for the purchase of a large drink. Cleanup hitter today, A.J. Pollock. D-backs continue to score early. A 6-run third Friday, a 4-run second last night. Already a 2-run first starts them off with a Cherv, 0-1.
Even scouting reports there in the dugout. That's one of the things you really expect from the guys that hit at the top of your order, especially the guys that see a lot of pitches. Your teammates want to hear a scouting report when you get back to that dugout. What did the fastball look like? How's it coming out of his hand? Can you pick up the rotation on that breaking ball?
Dropped another one in there, and quickly it's 0-2 on Pollock. 364 feet into that lower deck on the Western Metal Supply Company building. That's a neat aspect of this ballpark, Petco Park. It's a really pleasant place in which to watch a game, but they sort of built the ballpark around that building, which was nicely done. It's a nice bit of architecture there. And you go in there, there's all kinds of restaurants and suites in there. There's a Padres team shop. They got some bar and seating area on the roof. Boy, just one Cherv after another from Lucchesi to A.J. Pollock. Nice catch there. He's taking that ball, yeah.
Let go, Dad. Well, that's quite an experience. I remember getting a foul ball when I was a youngster at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, and I couldn't watch the game the rest of the night. I just kept looking at that baseball, and there was a mark on it where it had actually hit the dirt in the infield. Oh, man. Chico Simone hit me a foul ball.
Chico Simone.
Absolutely.
How
Number
about
17 for the Cleveland Indians.
That's awesome.
Of course, back in those days, if you could run a little bit, you could take home dozens of foul balls from Municipal Stadium because you had no competition to go chase foul balls.
Just the mosquitoes. Fastball in, and A.J. caught looking for a strikeout for Lucchesi, 2 down. That'll bring up Steven Souza Jr.
Lucchesi's fastball, you expect it to sink or cut or do something, but it's a pretty pure four-seamer. Doesn't really have a lot of movement, not overpowering with his velocity, but for the most part, he's been able to command it.
Souza 240 and a homer. Had the night off last night. A 2-run double in Friday's opener. There's that fastball. Stevens hit safely in 5 of his last 6 games. He's been more and more productive as he's gotten his feet underneath him, coming off the DL for the 2nd time this year. Checks on the curve. No, he didn't, says Pat Hoberg, and it's 0-2. Faced a high fastball, 2 strikeouts in the inning for Lucchese following the Goldie homer. But Goldie's 23rd makes it 2-0 Diamondbacks, the early lead for Clay Buchholz in San Diego. Lead for your Ram Truck starter for the D-backs. It's Clay Buchholz today. 3-1 with a 2.38 ERA with the D-backs. A win last Tuesday in Chicago in his return from the DL after he missed a month with that oblique strain.
Yeah, we were all kind of anxious to see what Clay Buchholz had in that start against, as I said earlier, a very powerful offensive ball club, but he worked his way through that Cubs lineup with relative ease in that last start.
He has been outstanding. Travis Jankowski, the speedy right fielder, leads it off for the Padres. Jankowski, a .249 hitter. He's homered twice. 1 for 5 in the series. Had a single Friday night. Yeah, Clay Buchholz last week at Wrigley, even after a month off, looked to be exactly the same guy we've seen all year. Gave up just 1 run, 6 hits, went 6 2/3. 94 pitches, 65 strikes. He has been all around the strike zone since he showed up here. There's a curveball for a strike. It's 1-2.
I think that was probably one of the more impressive things about that first start against the Cubs back off the DL. His command. You know, you're not quite sure what to expect. Get a little extra adrenaline pumping out there on the mound. Full house at Wrigley Field, but Clay Buchholz was totally in command.
Oh, well, he threw a pretty good pitch there, but Brian Knight missed it. It's 2-2, right on the borderline there.
Every day.
So we'll keep going. Adam out in front went back to the curveball against the strikeout. The lineup for the Padres is presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Travis Jankowski, the right fielder, just goes down on strikes to start it for the Padres. Manuel Margot making his way to the plate. Will Myers will be out in left field. Eric Hosmer at first base. Christian Villanueva at third. Freddie Galvis and Carlos Asuaje up the middle at short and second. A.J. Ellis doing the catching for lefty Joey Lucchese.
Center fielder Manuel Margot has been their hottest hitter. 3 hits in the series. He's doubled and homered. First pitch swinging, foul ground for Goldie. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
Steven Souza Jr. out in right field. A.J. Pollock will be in center. David Peralta over in left field. It'll be a Chris Owings, Nick Ahmed left side of the infield. Ketel Marte and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. John Ryan Murphy behind the plate today for right-hander Clay Buchholz.
Will Myers. 286 and 9 homers. D-backs have 3 defenders on the left side of the infield. Oh, a lot of early curveballs here from Clay Buchholz. Steal strike 1. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Not quite a pull hitter. He'll go up the middle from time to time. In fact, Myers working a lot with Matt Stairs lately. Trying to go to right center. That one's into left for a 2-out single. First hit for the Padres brings up Eric Hosmer.
Eric Hosmer had to wake up from his sleep several times last night seeing Patrick Corbin's sliders. Not again. No more, please.
246 and 10 homers.
Yeah, you really got the feeling last night if Hosmer had 100 at-bats against Patrick Corbin, he'd have struck out about 99 of them. Just could not see that slider out of Patrick's hand at all yesterday.
Patrick, 8 strikeouts yesterday. Archie Bradley got the win in relief. On the ground to second. Nice pick by Marte. They go the short way to Ahmed for the force on Myers. We head to the second in San Diego, 2-0 D-backs. Newcomb in Atlanta, 1 out away, 1 strike away from a no-hitter against the Dodgers, but Chris Taylor with 2 outs in the 9th inning, an infield single. Braves end up winning 4-1, so the Dodgers lose in Atlanta. Right now, the Diamondbacks only 1 game behind LA for the NL West lead. They can make that a half game if they hang on here in San Diego. They lead early 2-0 on a Goldie home run. Nick Ahmed starts the second against left-hander Joey Lucchesi. Nick 1 for 5 in the series. 233 on the year. He's got 13 home runs. Ahmed had an RBI single in Friday's opener. The third for Villanueva in on the grass. 1 pitch, 1 out in the second. Well, as Todd mentioned earlier, Eduardo Escobar, a pretty crazy last 24 hours. Late night cross country flight, new teammates, big game last night, maybe fatigued mentally and physically. So Escobar gets the day off today to catch his breath. And Chris Owings gets the start at third against the left-hander. Makes a lot of sense. You got to think Escobar can just sit back and go, okay, I made it here. I played my first game, couple of hits, look good. I met all the new guys. Let's just sort of catch my breath here, and we'll go get him Monday at Chase Field.
Boy, and what a weapon to have available off the bench if necessary later in the ball game. We talked about his versatility, can play all over the field. If you need a double switch partner to go into the ball game with a new pitcher, if you need a left-handed pinch hitter, a right-handed pinch hitter, pinch runner, nice piece to have even when he's not in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Escobar had a terrific D-back debut last night. Couple of hits, including his major league leading 38th double. He also walked and scored twice. Owings lines it to Villanueva, 2 down.
I was very impressed with Escobar's first at bat because he got 4 pitches out of the zone and didn't even think about swinging at any of them. Kind of reminded me of another 14 for the Arizona Diamondbacks when Peter O'Brien made his debut. Remember, he came up from the minor leagues?
Oh, yeah.
His first at bat, he took a walk, yeah, which is highly unusual. You can imagine coming up from the minor leagues or joining a new team after a trade. You want to make an immediate splash.
John Ryan Murphy, the catcher today. Lucchesi just picking away at that outside edge against these right-handers. John Ryan 0 for 3, struck out twice in his start Wednesday at Wrigley Field. That was his only appearance in the Cubs series. Fastball missed. It's 1-1. Murphy right now in a 2 for 30 slide at the plate. The at-bats haven't been quite as consistent as they were in the month of May when he was hitting all those home runs. The league has made some adjustments. Missed a fastball that time, and it's 1-2.
I think John Ryan Murphy would be the first guy to tell you that when he was having success earlier this season, he was swinging at strikes. Tried to lead him out of the zone with sliders away from a right-hander. He wouldn't nibble. Try to bounce change-ups in the dirt. He didn't nibble, but lately he's been expanding his own zone quite a bit.
Lucchesi dots the fastball, gets his 3rd strikeout. He's set down 5 straight since the Goldie homer, but it's 2-0 D-backs. Nothing. I don't know how to break this to you, BB, but you will have no post-game responsibilities today.
What?
Yeah, I know you're heartbroken because today we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Diamondbacks as Fox Sports Arizona brings you a brand new show on the D-backs 20th anniversary team. He'll meet the 15 players and the skipper on the all-time D-backs team. The 20th anniversary team debuts right after our game here today on Fox Sports Arizona. Produced by the great Josh Kellman, who's here on the trip with us. So you may want to put your feet up, read a magazine.
Maybe I'll go next door and see if the Padres need some help on their post.
Oh, that'd be big of you. Mud can use all the help he can get, frankly.
Former teammate, yeah.
Clay Buchholz, after a 9-pitch first, faces Christian Villanueva to start the San Diego second. Another first pitch curveball from Buchholz. We've seen a lot of curveballs so far. Villanueva, the third baseman, 220. Leads the Padres in home runs and RBIs.
A lot of breaking balls early, as you mentioned, from Clay Buchholz today. He's been watching the Padres throughout the first 2 games of this series. They've been very aggressive early in counts. To get on that first fastball they see and not give that opposing pitcher a chance to get to his out pitches. Or they're just way overly aggressive.
Boy, this one curveball after another so far, 1-2. Usually from Clay, we see a lot of fastballs. There's the defense against Villanueva. Buchholz has 3 different fastballs, the 4-seamer, the sinking 2-seamer, and that cut fastball, which has been such a good pitch for him. Missed with a fastball that time. It's 2-2. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, will be next. Another curveball, but Villanueva can't keep it fair. We can throw all kinds of numbers and stats at you, but regarding Clay Buchholz, this is the simplest and certainly the most impressive. He's made 8 starts with the Diamondbacks this year, and he's given up 1 or no earned runs in 6 of those 8 starts.
Yeah. Another start, he went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. He had 1 clunker against the Pirates, went 4 innings and gave up 5 earned runs.
Oh, just 1 curve. Well, that was a changeup that time. Off-speed pitch.
Between Lucchesi throwing that curve, an off-speed pitch that a lot of the righties have pulled foul down the third baseline, and Clay Buchholz throwing that changeup, that one section down the left field line is going to get a lot of action today.
It's a good spot to be. Fastball in, it's full, 3-2. Buchholz, and they retire Villanueva. Let's check on the D-backs right-hander.
Much like Archie Bradley last night, Buchholz trying to wave off the Diamondbacks coming out from the bench, but Ryan DePanfilo and skipper Torlavello just want to make sure.
I mean, he just came off the DL, for crying out loud. But you can hear a thud up here. Deflected that with the glove and caught him all in the leg. Not sure.
He doesn't even want to throw a warm-up pitch. He said he's good to go. His nickname as a youngster growing up was Sticks because he was so tall and skinny. He used to wear number 11 to make him look even taller and skinnier. I don't know how that one hit him in the leg.
Buchholz, a former first-round pick out of Angelina College by the Red Sox back in '05. Here's Freddie Galvis, a .240 hitter with 5 homers. Padres shortstop. Galvis 3 hits in this series, had a bloop double last night. One and one.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Petco Park and the night games that we played here, the first 2 games of this series. And when that marine layer kind of starts laying in the ballpark, things just don't seem to carry well. There were 3 or 4 balls hit late in that ball game last night that had a chance to get out of here, but just died on the warning track. That won't be the case here today. If you make good solid contact and get it up in the air, you've got a chance.
Yeah, Alex Avila just missed a pinch hit homer in the 9th inning last night. Jeff Mathis hit one out there as well. 2-2 on Freddie Galvis. Carlos Asuaje, the second baseman, on deck. Swing and a miss. Buchholz gets his second strikeout.
Not an easy thing to do. That's only the 38th strikeout of the season for Carlos Asuaje. He's usually a guy that puts it in play somewhere. I'm sorry, for Freddie Galvis. Excuse me. Asuaje making his way to the plate right now.
He's 0 for 4 in the series.
Galvis, on the other hand, strikes out quite a bit.
I'll file that away for future reference. Curveball miss. Asuaje hitless in his last 17 at bats. Nevertheless, they put the shift on against him. Just 3 for his last 24 up there. To me, and what do I know, but it seems like Corey Spangenberg has a little bit higher upside than Carlos Asuaje, but we don't see Spangenberg all that much. I mean, it's kind of nitpicky, but Spangenberg, a former first-round pick, still a pretty young guy. Playing time has been sporadic at best. Asuaje is usually in there, certainly against right-handers.
And it's not like Spangenberg has excelled off the bench for Andy Green. He's only 1 for 18 as a pinch hitter.
Yeah. Well, we've seen Spangenberg do some good things against the Diamondbacks the last few years.
It might be one of those things where if you're around a ball club on a daily basis, you notice things that you don't see in a short 3-game series. Like you said, we've seen Spangenberg really good against the Diamondbacks at times.
Another curveball, another strike, 2-2. Andy Green knows what he's doing. You have to be patient when you're a Padre, and it's another one of those years for San Diego. Got some key injuries in the pitching staff. Margot slumped for a long time, one of their future building blocks, although he's had a good summer. They got Hosmer, but he's not hit the way they thought he would or did in Kansas City. So it's been kind of hit and miss for Greeny this year. And boy, Buchholz threw 9 pitches to get 3 outs in the first inning. He's thrown 20 pitches to get 2 outs in the second. Tried to backdoor the cutter, missed badly with it. Now it's full 3-2. A.J. Ellis, the longtime Dodger catcher, in the on-deck circle. Second full count in the inning for Buchholz. And Asuaje hits it into the shift. That's Ahmed, the shortstop. And Buchholz works a 1-2-3 second. It's 2-0 Diamondbacks at Petco Park. Fans be at Chase Field. Our annual alumni game is coming up Saturday, August 4th. It's brought to you by Sanderson Ford. And this year's alumni game festivities start at 2 o'clock before the 20th anniversary pregame celebration, honoring the 16 members of the 20th anniversary team. D-backs and Giants game is at 5 o'clock. Details and tickets can be found at dbacks.com/alumni. It'll be a big day for you, Mr. Commissioner and Mr. Manager.
The only real job is as the commissioner of the alumni game. That can turn into a fist fight sometimes.
Really?
Very competitive, those guys.
Swahe. You're talking about the baseball, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure. Well, Lucchese has retired all 6 he's faced since the Goldie homer in the first. Second time through the order now. It's David Peralta who grounded out to lead off the ball game. Lucchese had a 23-pitch first inning, but he backed that up with an 8-pitch second inning. David hits it to shortstop. Freddie Galvis is there. Another ground ball out for Lucchese. That's his 4th of the ball game. 2 down for Ketel Marte.
I mentioned back in the first inning about Lucchese that when he extends his arms up above his head, that's when he goes for the grip. It seems kind of unusual because your arms are right up there above your head, right where everybody can see them very clearly. And if you're moving that ball around in your hand, your arm is going to react accordingly. I've told the story many times about Steve Finley saying that he could look at John Franco's forearm and tell what pitch he was going to throw.
Just read the flex. There's the curveball.
Yeah. You have to make some changes to go from one grip to the other in that glove. And when John Franco would do it, Steve Finley insisted he could see the muscles in his forearm moving, and he knew when he was going to throw the changeup.
Anybody else buy that?
Oh, no. Everybody else in the dugout was going la 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 while Steve was talking. He could see things that other guys maybe couldn't see or didn't want to look for. But in his mind, if it prepared him better for a certain pitch and he whacked a few of them, then good for him.
Marte walked his first time up, came home with a Goldie home run. That's going to reach the seats out of play.
Well, that was one thing about that 0-1 team. They were really good about picking up tells or tips that a pitcher would have out there on the mound or the catcher behind the plate after calling for a certain pitch. Some guys would set up really wide behind the plate if they were calling for a breaking ball because it might end up in the dirt and they wanted to get ready to block the ball. Other times they would just sit back very comfortably expecting a fastball. And if you can see that from the coach's box or from the bench and give a whistle or something to the hitter at the plate to alert him what might be coming, you can really take advantage. And we had some guys that were really adept at finding the most minute little difference from one pitch to the other.
The joys of a veteran ball club.
Oh, yeah. And one of the best was Schill. Kurt Schilling would sit out there in the dugout for the first 2 or 3 innings of the ball game and eventually would call every pitch.
I've seen him do that when he watches a game on TV. It's kind of creepy.
It is a little creepy.
It's amazing. Lucchese, 40 pitches, 27 strikes. He has walked 1. He struck out 3 so far. 2-2 on Ketel Marte. Starting to spray that curve around a little bit. Full count, Goldie on deck. Well, this worked out in the first. Marte walked, Goldie homered. For Paul Goldschmidt, the home run is 23rd of the year.
It only took 2 pitches into the at bat. Joey Lucchese started him with a 2-seam fastball right there. He fouled it hard down the third baseline. Tried to come back with another one in almost an identical location, and Goldie just blasted out of here to left field. Our nationwide vision, eye on the game.
His 4th hit in the series. That walk snapped a stretch of 7 straight retired by Lucchese. That fastball in a bad spot. Got away with it. 0-1. Lucchese just beat the Mets in New York in his previous outing. That was last Monday. He's been getting a lot of strikes with that curve in his last 5-6 starts. He's got a pretty good move. It looks like Marte's a little confused down there at first.
Yeah, he has 3 pickoffs on the season. I think he picked, was it Alex Avila? He picked somebody off for the Diamondbacks last time he faced him.
Let's see.
Probably wouldn't have been Avila because I doubt if he was in the lineup against Lucchese, but it seems to me like he picked somebody off at some point this year.
Go back to April to find that one.
Well, you can see how he could be deceptive with a pickoff move to first base. He's really deceptive on his delivery to home plate.
Well, Goldie's home run still the only Diamondbacks base hit so far. After last night when they scored 9 runs on 15 hits. Tapper back to the mound. Lucchese cleans it up and strands the 2-out walk. D-backs lead the Padres 2-0. Diego, D-backs fans, if you can't watch the games on your television, don't forget to stream them live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go, brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Along the waterway here in lower downtown San Diego. Gas lamp, the whole thing. Here's A.J. Ellis, longtime Dodger catcher. Now the backup in San Diego, 286 and a home run. Ellis now 37 years old, still going. You can't keep a good catcher down. Ellis used sparingly but effectively when he's been in there for much of this year. Signed a minor league deal with the Padres at the start of spring training. That one's punched down the right field line and fair in the corner. A.J. Ellis, a double to start the San Diego third.
A.J. Ellis is a guy throughout his career that almost always walks as much as he strikes out. As a matter of fact, when he was with the Dodgers, he said he realized throughout his minor league career that if he was going to have any value at the big leagues, he was going to have to walk more often, because when he put the ball in play, bad things tended to happen. Not this time. A double down the right field line, the 6th of the season for A.J. Ellis.
Yeah, and throughout his big league career, he's been one of the most patient hitters in the game. Sees a lot of pitches. Now the corners come in. At least Goldie halfway from first. Owing still near the bag at third. With the pitcher Lucchesi up, squaring to bunts. Goldie creeping in from first. Gets it down third base side, and that is going to make Ellis stay put at second. Owings back to the bag covering at third, so that didn't work out at all.
He deadened the ball well, but unfortunately for him and the Padres, it stopped right out there in front of home plate for John Ryan Murphy to come out of the chute, look the runner back at second base, and easily get the out at first.
Tay covering 2-4 on the putout. Ellis still at second, one down. Leadoff man Travis Jankowski struck out his first time up.
It's actually pretty good base running by A.J. Ellis. When there's just one runner on base at second, you don't have to advance on that bunt. If you're not sure if you can make it 90 feet to third base, you better just stay put.
Yeah, Murphy was on it pretty quickly, and Owings was covering the bag. Now Jankowski can really run, and he beats it out. A bunt single for Jankowski. Hold on. Nope. They're going to bring him back. Brian Knight.
I think they're going to call him out for being inside the baseline that time.
Yeah.
Brian Knight, when that ball was put into play, jumped out from behind home plate and was looking right down that first baseline as Jankowski started his trip to first. Nice play by Buchholz to bounce off the mound the way he did.
Yeah, he called it right away. Andy Green is out there.
He could have possibly said that Jankowski stepped on the plate in an effort to get that bunt down. Watch that left foot. Oh my. Yeah, he's way out there out of the left-handed batter's box. That's a good call. You can see Knight looking right down at that left foot of Travis Jankowski.
So they send Ellis back to second base. Jankowski's out. And just trying to get two bunts down has really gone sour for San Diego. Margot will be the hitter.
Green not happy, but doesn't really have much of an argument right there. It was clear that Jankowski stepped out of the batter's box and over home plate in an attempt to get down that bunt.
Margot popped up his first time. Ellis still at second, now 2 outs. Just missed with that cutter. Buchholz this year has excelled at throwing first pitch strikes. He has not done that here today. He's been falling behind in counts very quickly, which is completely backwards from the way we've seen him pitch so far. A lot of first pitch strikes. On a curveball, 1-1. Margot riding a career high 9-game hitting streak. He's doubled and homered in the series. Goldie's head and into right. They're going to stop Ellis with no speed at all at third. And Souza gets it back in there quickly.
Well, for the time being, that inability to get down a bunt has really hurt the Padres in this inning. Obviously, this base hit to right field. If Ellis was on third base, he could walk home. But because he wasn't able to advance on the 2 bunt attempts, Diamondbacks are able to hold him at third base. Still a chance to get out of this inning unscathed.
Now a 10-game hit streak for Margot. They're on the corners, 2 down for Will Myers, who singled his first time up today. Myers has now hit safely in 7 of his last 8 games, 290 on the year. Another first pitch curveball from Buchholz. .40 pitches, 26 strikes. Here's a look at the D-back defense. And Myers hits one deep left center field, and it's off the wall. Ellis scores. They wave Margot. Here's the relay. It's cut off, and we are tied at 2. A 2-run double for Will Myers. That ball was blistered to deep left center.
Curveball just stayed right in the middle of the plate, kind of a roller that time, and Myers really kept his hands back well. We saw him drive a ball to right center last night, left center here this afternoon to drive home a couple.
He's 2 for 2. Here's Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer just not getting the ball up in the air this year. His ground ball rate is at a career high. His fly ball rate by far a career low. In fact, the Rockies' Ian Desmond, the only player in baseball hitting the ball into the ground more often than Eric Hosmer. As a result, he's only got 10 home runs this year. 1 homer in his last 37 games. I guess he's the only guy that hasn't heard about launch angle.
He's heard about it. He just doesn't know how to achieve it.
Picking away with that curveball. You've got first base open. Villanueva, the right-hand batter, on deck. 3-0 to Hosmer.
Buchholz starting to miss with a lot of pitches up in the zone. Change-ups up, curveballs up near the top of the zone.
Seems like he had a definite plan of attack with all these breaking balls. We haven't seen nearly as many fastballs as we usually do, especially that cutter. That was one right there for a strike on 3-0. Padres, as they do every Sunday home game, wearing their military appreciation camo uniforms. Big military salute and ceremony before the game today. And a very impressive flyover. A couple of UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters from the 2916th Aviation Battalion in Fort Irwin over Petco Park before the ball game. So Mike Butcher going to get out there now. 2 runs in, 2 on and 2 out for Villanueva. First walk issued by Buchholz.
Turning into a little bit of a long inning here for Clay Buchholz. This might just be a physical meeting to the mound, just to regroup, give him a chance to catch his breath out there. come up with a game plan against Christian Villanueva with a couple of Padres on base in a tie game.
Villanueva hit a tapper back to the mound on a 3-2 pitch his first time up. He's still hitless in the series. But he leads the Padres with those 19 home runs and 43 RBIs. Myers down there at second, Hosmer at first. There's that cutter for strike one. Watch Eric Hosmer the way he takes his lead. Now, Goldie's not holding him on the bag, but he starts almost as a sprinter would start, pointed directly at second base.
He can catch a little bit of Goldie out of his peripheral vision and also watch the runner ahead of him. Not that Will Myers is going to do anything with 2 outs in the inning, but as a trail runner at first base, you've got to keep one eye on the first baseman, one eye on the pitcher, and one eye on the runner at second. Wait.
All 3 eyes on something. He was a little more square to the plate that time, but the previous pitch he had been pointed directly at the second base bag. Buchholz gets ahead with a curveball. Here's the 1-2. Big walking lead for Hosmer at first, and Villanueva hits it on the ground to shortstop. Ahmed gets over there, and they get the force on Hosmer. But Will Myers' 2-run double ties it up after 3.
There's a look at number 51, Trevor Hoffman, enshrined into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and a great Arizona connection, guys, as the first Arizona Wildcat to go in. And there you see him back in the day in the mid to late 1980s in Tucson at Sanset Field under head coach Jerry Kindle, of course, the shortstop of that team. And Bob, you'll like this, I think. I talked to the catcher on those teams. His name is Mike Thorell, an old friend. Went to college together. He's a bank president back in the Valley, and I said, did you have any inkling? And as you know, catchers know everything because everybody wants to pitch, right? He said he always knew, and that whenever Trevor would wander over to the mound or go out near the bullpen and start getting that look, that Jerry Kindle would shoo him away and bring him back to shortstop. And there's a foul ball. And you have to remember that Trevor was sort of the leader of that infield after Chip Hale won a national championship and left. And they also had pitchers like Scott Erickson, Jason Heisey, Lance Dixon, solid college baseball players, and also obviously onto the major leagues. So Jerry Kindle, I think, wanted to keep that infield intact, and he did. And then Trevor, when he was drafted, we all know the story, just couldn't hit and made the switch.
I think it worked out for the best.
Yes, I think so.
601 saves later.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they had the Trevor Hoffman speech on the video board here in the ballpark. They played it for all the fans. They saw it live, and then a replay just before the opening pitch.
Well, they opened the gates early here at Petco Park today, so the fans that wanted to could come into the ballpark and watch the speech on the big board.
By the way, Todd,
Yeah.
BB was able to score me a Trevor Hoffman bobblehead.
I saw that because you know a guy and he knows a guy, right?
Well, you're the only guy I know. But BB stepped up big time. Pollock hits a high fly ball, deep left center field. Margot at the wall, and it's gone. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Well, you said it earlier, Bob. No marine layer here and a bright sunny day in San Diego. That one carried into the bullpens.
AJ's hit some real skyscrapers lately that haven't carried out of the ballpark. Cast this one high in the air. Fastball out over the plate. Got every bit of it. Thought it might have been too high initially, but.
What do you mean too high?
Too high. Great carry that time.
50th pitch from Lucchese is AJ's 14th of the year. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Here's Steven Souza Jr. That's a base hit into left field.
There's been a lot of news about all the Hall of Fame inductees, but since we're here in San Diego, been reading a lot about Trevor Hoffman and how it wasn't all roses when he first got here. Came here from a trade from Miami, and they had already traded Tony Fernandez and Randy Myers and Benito Santiago, and Trevor Hoffman came this direction, and the reigning batting champion in the National League, Gary Sheffield, went to Miami. So fans weren't happy. The media wasn't happy here in San Diego, but I think in the long run, Trevor made believers out of all of them.
And then KT built that great reputation as a guy, as a bullpen architect, a guy that could pick guys up off scrap heaps and put together really good bullpens.
Mark Grace was texting me earlier today, guys. He was telling a story about Kevin Towers. Maybe you've heard this along the way, but Kevin was so anxious when he watched his Padres that he never saw Trevor Hoffman pitch. He left the booth and found a way somehow to hide here at Petco and never saw those ninth innings. Never heard them. Never heard the PA announcer.
I felt that way from time to time when BK came.
Where's Brenly?
You're here all weekend, are
He
you?
went down the tunnel. I tell you also, it was wonderful to see Alan Trammell get inducted. You will not find a better person, a kind, gentle man. It was Gibby's coach here for a long time at the Diamondbacks, and it was wonderful to see him finally get in.
It was great to see some of the Diamondbacks as part of their workouts to stop and watch that speech on the top step near the Diamondbacks dugout as well.
And Alan said, you know, he won't really feel complete as a Hall of Famer until Lou Whitaker is there with him, justifiably so.
We talked about that for a while in the ball game last night. 19 parts of 20 seasons together as the keystone combination at second and short for the Tigers. Unheard of.
Ahmed hits a fly ball. Myers backing up at the track, at the wall, and it is gone. Nick Ahmed. The second D-back home run in this inning, the third of the ball game. And suddenly it's 5-2 Diamondbacks. What were you saying about the ball carrying here today?
Nick's second career home run against Joey Lucchese really got extended on a pitch down and out over the plate, and once again great carry into the front row out there in left field. Nick wasn't quite sure it was going to carry enough, had to wait as Steven Souza had gone back to the bag to tag up.
Now, let's not pass any runners at first base. Devin Marrero and Alex Avila. Owings gets into one. He hits a ball deep to center, and that one's off the wall. Margot bobbles it in center. It's a double for CO. So this fourth inning starts out homer single, homer double for the Diamondbacks.
Well, that ball is punished to straightaway center field. Once again, a middle of the plate fastball down a little bit. Chris Owings off the wall in center field. Next.
Well, we have a moment. Darren Balsley goes out to the mound. Todd, you were speaking about the pregame ceremonies and watching the Hall of Fame speeches on the video board here. There was also, Bob and I noticed, a moment involving you. And I'm not even sure if you're aware of this. Now,
No,
this is
I wasn't.
your pregame hit. There's Peralta and Ketel Marte. Now, Goldie tries to walk through. Watch David Peralta on the left there. And then this is my favorite part. Now it's just Marte. Watch this move.
Strike the pose.
Wait for it. There.
See. Oh my God.
Now you, I have
that's-
to say,
That's hilarious.
total professional, rock solid focus into the camera, never even blinked.
I had no idea. I had never seen that before.
What
was
I really
live on
enjoyed
TV.
was the confused look on your face a moment ago while I was explaining what we were about to show, and you clearly had no idea.
I'll take the jalopy under door 2. I had no idea.
But you just total pro right there.
Okay.
John Ryan Murphy struck out looking to win the second.
Looks like a really bad album cover.
Or a really good one. I'm not sure which one, frankly. This is popped up to second. Asuaje's there. Bob and I were talking about this, and I think it's a legit point. And you're down in the dugout before the game. These guys are goofing around down there. They are for a team that's right now only one game out of first, this is a very loose bunch.
There is no question. And again, I was just so impressed with the game on Friday night, as I tried to convey to Tori Lavello on the post-game show, that they literally flipped the page from two of the most back-breaking losses I think we've seen all year at Wrigley Field in Chicago, and they just became themselves again and let it all hang out and then found a way to get back in the win column. And a lot of that, Steve, I still think has to do with just your countenance, if you will, and how you handle what's going on around you.
Owings takes off for third, and he's out. A.J. Ellis, the veteran catcher, throws out CO trying to steal a bag. Let's have a look.
Gotta have a little more momentum than that if you're going to try to steal third base.
D-backs keeping the foot on the gas here. They're still looking at the replay in the Diamondback dugout, waiting for word from Alan Campbell, the video coordinator. And we play on, no challenge. Base is empty, 2 down now. 0-1 on the pitcher, Buchholz. I think putting bad losses behind them, and we've had a few here and there, not many, but there's been a few that stand out as ones that really stung. And certainly Thursday in Chicago was one. I think they've excelled at that all year, of immediately just turning the page.
And that, I still think, goes to leadership. It starts to me with the manager, Bob.
Well, I was just thinking back to that 0-1 season, and recently after that, people would ask, well, what was so special about this team? And that's one of the things that I came up with. They knew how to lose.
Yeah.
You're not going to win every day in the major leagues. The other team's pretty good too, and you have to let them go and come back the next day and realize you've got a clean slate every day you show up at the ballpark.
Well, I asked Tori after game 1 here about what we're talking about. And I said, you know, your team is like a lighthouse sometimes. They send out signals. And he said, I went into that room 9 times just to walk around before game 1 here in San Diego, just to get a sense, was that experience in Chicago lingering? And he got the sense that he saw it wasn't.
And now they're in position to sweep 3 in San Diego. As Buchholz grounds out, 2 home runs in the 4th. AJ gets it started, his 14th. Ahmed follows his 14th. And it's 5-2 Diamondbacks. In the home run column today, 5-2 Diamondbacks at Petco Park. Fans, MLB.TV now available at a lower price, $82.99. Lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. And includes MLB at Bat Premium. That lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Visit MLB.TV and take advantage of the special offer. Lee Buchholz, a little bit of a bumpy third. A couple of base hits ahead of a Will Myers 2-run double that tied it at 2, but the Diamondbacks have answered with 3 in the 4th to give Buchholz a 5-2 lead as Freddie Galvis leads off the Padre 4th inning.
We're talking a lot about Trevor Hoffman here in San Diego today on Hall of Fame induction day, and one of my lasting memories of Trevor Hoffman at old Qualcomm Stadium. They had a big door in right center field, big triple, quadruple wide door where they would pull the batting cage in and the equipment to drag the infield and so forth and so on. And it went up a ramp out of the stadium. Well, every afternoon about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd see Trevor Hoffman with his gym shorts and his sneakers and a t-shirt go out that door, and he'd be gone for an hour. Well, every time they would call up a rookie pitcher for the Padres, kind of as a joke, but kind of as a way to point the guy in the right direction, they would tell him, follow Trevor and do whatever he does today. Well, occasionally you'd see Trevor go out the gate with a couple of rookie pitchers right behind him. Trevor would come back an hour later, and then maybe a half an hour after that, you'd see the 2 rookies coming in, stepping on their tongues, just totally exhausted. They could not keep up with Trevor Hoffman, even at the tail end of his time here in San Diego. He was just a workout maniac.
He used to go out and work out in those the hospital clothes, right? What do you call them? The
scrubs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that one too.
A pretty good lesson for a young pitcher. You know, hey, you want to stay in the big leagues for a while, just follow this guy around, do what he does. Well, not many could keep up with Trevor Hoffman.
Jordan Lyles just activated off the DL today. Starts to warm up in the Padre bullpen. He's been out with a right elbow problem. A squib shot back to the mound. Nope, that hit Galvis. Foul ball.
Freddie Galvis got the whole unit going today. The SD on the socks, wearing the pants up high underneath the knees, white shoes.
He looks like a golfer on the senior tour. We're going to have a look at Galvis. Galvis is a guy that never comes out of games. He plays all 162 if you let him.
Looked like it got him up around the knee. That's where they're looking. I thought it got him in the foot initially, just looking from up here in the press box, but checking out that knee. Another look here. Yeah, just drives that off his front knee. Man.
Yeah, he's still down. Galvis is not coming out. Still 1-2.
Tape and aspirin to it between innings. Well, and the thing about Galvis, there are players in the game that have had consecutive game streaks, and they'll kind of massage it here or there just to get them in the lineup to make sure the streak continues. Come out of the game after a foul ball off their knee. Galvis not only wants to play every game, he wants to play every inning of every game.
And he almost does. He's an Iron Man. Waves at a curveball. Buchholz gets his 3rd strikeout, 1 down in the 4th. Swahe, the second baseman.
Galvis is just now getting back to that first base dugout.
Taking his time.
He's going to have to grit his teeth and get through this one.
Swahe grounded out to end the second. Hitless in his last 18 at bats. D-backs have the shift on. And he lines it to the one guy on the other side. There's Chris Owings, 2 down. Well, when you're 0 for 19, those kinds of things happen. Ellis doubled and scored to lead off the Padre third. A.J. Ellis, parts of 9 seasons with the Dodgers, and was traded to the Phillies near the end of the 2016 season. He spent last year in Miami. Signed a minor league deal with the Padres this spring. Long time in LA. He was, of course, Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher.
I think that should be every catcher's goal toward the end of their playing career. Find somebody and latch on to them and try to last a few more years.
Well, that worked for you and Mike
Yes,
Krukow.
it Goes going way back. Tim McCarver and Steve Carlton. They were quite a duo there at the end of Timmy Mack's career. I mean, right here, Jeff Mathis and Zach Greinke.
You've got to throw A.J. Ellis strikes. He walks him on 4 pitches, just ahead of the pitcher Lucchesi. Second walk issued by Buchholz. Well, it certainly proved to be a dynamic duo, Mathis, and, by the way, Jeff and Patrick Corbin have worked so well together recently. And Jeff has been a hitter all summer long. He's had a very good road trip with the bat. They're now starting to dress alike, which is scary. D-backs have not had a 3-game sweep at Petco Park since April of 2006. It's not surprising. Every time we've come in here, even when the Diamondbacks were a much better team than San Diego in some recent seasons, the Padres always find one game to kind of get under your skin. There's that Buchholz cutter, 1-2. Lucchesi, last year's Padres minor league player of the year. 5 wins this season as a rookie. And there's the strikeout. That's 4 for Buchholz. He leads it 5-2. Fame Day, BB, and appropriately, Randy Johnson, who was there in Cooperstown today, is our Geico Legacy Moment, part of the D-backs 20th anniversary team.
Got a mantle full of Cy Young awards at home, 8 seasons with the Diamondbacks. I don't need to tell D-backs fans how important he was to the evolution of this franchise leading up to the World Championship in 01. You get guys like Randy Johnson and Matt Williams and Jay Bell and Steve Finley to sign up for an expansion ball club. You're going to get a lot of other free agents and veteran players that want to be part of it.
We'll have to ask Randy about that and about Cooperstown today when he joins us in the booth on Thursday, so brace yourself. The big chatty will be in the house. David Peralta 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. He leads off the 5th against lefty Joey Lucchese. Got a long homestand coming up. I was just checking the old schedule, or as they say in England, the schedule. It'll be good to be back home. We've been on the road, it seems like, for the last 2 months. But we got 2 games against Texas starting tomorrow. Then 4 against the Giants, including the alumni game on Saturday. And then the Phillies are in for 3. Robbie Ray and Martin Perez, a couple of left-handers on the mound tomorrow at Chase Field. And then how about Tuesday, Zach Godley and Big Bart on the mound for the Rangers, Bartolo Colon. He will start that game at the age of 75. He might pitch till he's 75. He can still get guys out.
Yeah, who cares about pitching? He's going to have to hit.
That's a good point. Didn't think of that. We'll have to fire up Mosscam for that. Let's go. There's a strike. I'm not sure that you're going to have to, Mosscam's going to have to zoom out to get
wide angle.
Cologne. Can we replace it with a wide angle lens? Have to talk to Brian Moss about that. Spins Peralta around. And that's the 3rd walk for Joey Lucchese.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, like today, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. Yeah, the road tacos kind of snuck up on us today in that 4th inning.
2 home runs in the 4th. AJ a solo shot. Ahmed a 2-run homer. Here's Ketel Marte, who was walked twice and scored a run today. Looking down at the roster today, you've got Ketel Marte and Eduardo Escobar. Escobar has the day off, but a couple of switch hitters, and the Diamondbacks now have the major league leaders in both doubles and triples. Marte has 9 triples. He's tied with the White Sox Yalmer Sanchez for the most of the majors, and Escobar leads everybody in doubles. He's got 38, doubled and scored last night. Getting the day off today for Torey Lovullo. Chance to catch his breath after a busy last 24 hours or so. That's out of play. Rockies have won again. Colorado beat Oakland today 3-2. Dodgers were almost no hit in Atlanta. Sean Newcomb lost it with 2 outs in the 9th, the left-hander, but the Braves beat the Dodgers 4-1. Giants are home against the Brewers, and San Francisco has a 5-3 lead. Giants have really been fading. They fell back to 7.5 games behind LA at the start of play today. So the Giants will have a chance to pick up a game.
I read a couple different stories online this morning. The Washington Nationals apparently depends on what they do today.
Yeah, how about that?
Their last game before the trade deadline on Tuesday, and there's some reports out there that if they win today, maybe they'll add. If they lose, they may back up the truck.
Well, Washington, they lost 5-0, by the way. I think, right? Yeah, that's today, 29th. Yeah, the Marlins beat them 5-0. So they are now a game under 500, the Nationals, at 52 and 53. But still only 6 games behind the Phillies for the NL East lead. Marte sends one toward the right field corner. And there's a running grab by the speedy Travis Jankowski. He can cover a lot of ground out there.
You just mentioned a moment ago that Marte leading the world in triples. Thought he might have another one there if that ball gets down the right field line with his speed.
Yeah. Goldie, a 2-run home run in the first, his 23rd of the year. That one is going to bounce through into right field. Peralta digging for third, and he's in there. Well, you mentioned this the other night. I think it might have even been last night. Goldie had an RBI single over there too. In fact, it's if that's what it calls for, you know, forget the MVP stuff and the home runs and he's just going to hit it to the right side and move that runner along.
Yeah, that's where the hole was. They're pitching him away. Just take what they give you.
So here comes Andy Green. That's it for Lucchesi. We take a break from San Diego. Fifth inning, D-backs have runners in the corners. AJ is last time up against Joey Lucchesi. Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game. This at bat ends with a long home run to left center field.
Yeah, curveball sinker, but the sinker was left up in the zone at 91 miles an hour. AJ hit it out of here to left center field. Out near the bullpens are Nationwide Vision eye on the game.
Would you see Lucchesi just hang his head?
Oh, he
knew
knew
right away, yeah. AJ's 14th of the year, and now he'll face the new pitcher for the Padres just off the 10-day DL today. He'd been out with right elbow inflammation. It's the right-hander Jordan Lyles. Made a couple of starts with AAA El Paso during his rehab stint. So he's been a kind of a swing man, back and forth, bullpen rotation, spot starter, the whole thing. Here's AJ, who has struck out and homered. Peralta's at third, Goldie's at first, 1 out. Funny to get a visit between the break there from Mark Grant, the fine analyst for Padres TV. Came in and said exactly what we were just saying about Goldie. Whatever the situation calls for, just knocks it over there, right side, moves the runner along, gets a run in, whatever it takes.
That's one of the joys about having a power hitter that isn't necessarily a pull hitter. He can drive the ball out of the ballpark to any part of the park, and because of that, in situations like we just saw when there's a big gap on the right side of the infield and the runner in scoring position, he's perfectly capable of shooting that ball to right field. Almost makes it look too easy.
Yeah, we get spoiled. We see it so often. AJ had 2 balls and no strikes. Lyles got that fastball in there. This is a guy that the Diamondbacks historically have knocked around the yard a whole lot, Jordan Lyles, both when he was with Colorado and now in San Diego.
Well, he does give up the long ball, 12 in just over 66 innings of work this year.
Remember, Daniel Descalso last year hit a walk-off home run in extra innings against Jordan Lyles. It went into the pool at Chase Field. Swing and a miss. And a changeup and struck out. 2 down.
Good downward movement on that pitch right there to get AJ to swing over the top.
A chance for Steven Souza Jr. He singled and scored in the 4th. Came in on the Nick Ahmed 2-run homer. So Souza's now hit safely in 6 of his last 7 games at .245 on the year. 2 on and 2 out. And he blasts one down the line in right, but that one is slicing out of play. Well, Souza's 16 games since he came back from aggravating that pectoral injury. And since he's come back from the DL the 2nd time, he's hit .295. 8 extra base hits and 11 RBI. So he's been a very productive bat in the middle of this lineup. David Peralta at 3rd. Paul Goldschmidt at 1st. Bury that fastball down and in. Souza behind 0-2.
With 2 strikes on Steven Souza Jr. You might see Goldie on the move down there at first base. 0-2 is not always a good run count because of the threat of a pitch out.
And there goes Goldie. Souza chased a high fastball and strikes out. Lyles strands 2. It stays 5-2 defense. lead over the Padres, set for the home half of the 5th inning. Don't forget, fans, now is the time. D-backs season tickets for 2019 on sale right now. You'll get access to the best seats for the lowest price, and you can choose your own season ticket plan. They'll work with you. You can go down, pick the seats, and decide exactly how many games you want to get. You can get the full season ticket package. You can do a half a season. Series or weekend season ticket plans are also available. D-backs will work with you on this, and you can go around the ballpark and sit in your seat. Try, I don't like that. I want to move down. I want to move over. Whatever it is, you can try it out before you buy. Log on now, dbacks.com. Become a season ticket holder in 2019.
Yeah, we see that every day at Chase Field. The representatives from the ticket office walking fans around the ballpark, and they'll sit behind the first base dugout. Then they'll go down by the right field foul pole. Then they'll come around the left field side. Yeah, you can try them out, see if you like them.
And I always like your idea of getting together with some neighbors or friends, and you know, 4, 6 guys, whatever, all get tickets and split them up.
That's why the Diamondbacks give you so many different options with your ticket package. But if you do choose to go with the full season pack, we know it's tough to get to 81 games a year. Everybody's busy in the summertime, but yeah, find some friends and neighbors, some family, split them up.
And we've got a big homestand coming up as Clay Buchholz takes his warm-up tosses now after they fix up the mound out there. 2 against Texas. The Rangers will be in for some interleague intrigue starting tomorrow. And then a 4-game series against the Giants, including the alumni game on Saturday. And then the Philadelphia Phillies are in for 3 starting a week from tomorrow. So that's a nice long homestand for us. Get a chance to do some laundry. Travis Jankowski leads off the bottom of the 5th. He's 0 for 2. Buchholz so far has given up 2 runs on 4 hits. He has walked 2 and struck out 4. 66 pitches through 4. 41 for strikes. First pitch is bounced to second for Ketel Marte. Here's Manuel Margot. Singled and scored in the 3rd. Came home on Will Myers' 2-run double to tie the game at 2 after 3. Margot now with a career best 10-game hitting streak. This is a guy that they really want to be their leadoff man. He's only 23 years old, a very promising young player. But his season started off miserably. At the end of May, he was really fighting just to get to 200. Had a terrible start to the year, so they went through a complete overhaul of Margot's swing right in the middle of the year. It got so bad, and it's really worked out. He hits one pretty deep right field. It backs up Souza. 2 down.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Well, here's Will Myers, who's been a problem for Buchholz, a single and a 2-run double. He's got 4 hits in the series, 295 on the year.
Rocking a little Led Zeppelin immigrant song there as his walk-up music. That's what Damian Miller used. Because Damian did come from the land of ice and snow. In northern Wisconsin.
Myers is out of High Point, North Carolina. Buchholz trying to work a nice quick 1, 2, 3, 5th inning through the top of the Padre order. 0-2 on Myers. There it is, called strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Buchholz, who holds a 5-2 lead. San Diego D-backs lead the Padres 5-2.
Yeah, 3 sinkers in this sequence. The first 2 out of the zone, low and away. These guys have scooted over into the zone, and Nick is ready for it. All 3 of those at 89 miles an hour. The last one ends up in the front row of the bleachers out there. Our nationwide vision, eye on the game.
Nick's 14th of the year. That in the 4th after A.J. Pollock had led off the inning with a home run. So Nick has now hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games, and he's got 13 RBIs over that span. And he's got another base hit. He punches that one into right field. Here's Chris Owings. CO just missed a home run himself. He doubled off the wall in deep left center. In there at third base today, 1 for 2. Trade deadline coming up on Tuesday. Things are getting busy again. Braves made a move today. They picked up reliever Brad Brock from the Baltimore Orioles for some international signing bonus slot money. So the Orioles have moved Machado, they've moved Britton, and now they've moved Brad Brock.
I've been on both ends of it as a player, a coach, a manager. You get to the trade deadline. I've been on the wrong side of it way too many times when you see teammates going out the door, good teammates going out the door, and the return in the trade is usually guys that end up in the Midwest League or the Cal League, and you never get to meet them.
It's true.
Yeah, it's no fun when you're the team that
Ahmed moves into second.
has to start making those kind of moves at the deadline. Got to be realistic about your chances of getting involved in any kind of a race. And if you don't think you're going to be that team, it behooves you to unload some of the money, some of the veterans, clear a way for some of the younger players to get more playing time, and try to restock that system with future major leaguers.
Wild pitch charge to Jordan Lyles, 2-2 on Owings with Murphy on deck. Well, that certainly describes the New York Mets. The Mets are fielding all kinds of offers for some of their pitchers right now. All kinds of reports out there about Jacob deGrom or Noah Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler. And a report today from MLB.com's Mark Feisen says that if any of those guys get traded, it's likely to be Wheeler. We saw him this year look very good.
Yeah, he did.
Against the D-backs. Syndergaard is on the DL right now. Oddly enough, with hand, foot, and mouth disease. But Wheeler's a guy that they could move. People wondering if now that Brock has been moved out of Baltimore, if Adam Jones will be next. He's a pending free agent. So Dan Duquette was saying that he thinks Jones will still be in Baltimore on Wednesday once the non-waiver trade deadline passes. That one is foul. And you mentioned Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. The Nationals, apparently, there was one report out there that said if they lost the game today, they would start selling.
Open for business. Talk about trade deadline deals. I think back to the San Francisco Giants in 1989. We definitely had some needs on that ball club, but a very solid offensive team. So Al Rosen, our general manager, went out and got Rick Russell, Don Robinson, Dave Dravecki, Craig Lefferts, a left-handed specialist, and Kevin Mitchell, who went on to be the MVP a couple of years later. You want to talk about a shot in the arm mid-season.
Some wheeling and dealing. There's all kinds of implication. You can trade bonus slot money. You can stock up on picks. You can move free agents that you think you're not going to be able to keep. A single and a walk open up the D-back sixth. Here's John Ryan Murphy, who's over 2. A lot of speculation that the Reds, after they picked up Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight, earlier this year, Harvey's pitched very well. Maybe they would move Harvey and flip him. So he's another name that's floating around out there.
Now that could turn out to be a pretty smart move for the Cincinnati Reds, depending on what they end up doing with Matt Harvey. You get down to this time of year and teams that think they're going to be in contention throughout, they want to add another arm, and certainly a guy like Matt Harvey, who was on the scrap heap earlier this season with the Mets, becomes a very desirable trade target. You might be able to get a few good prospects for him.
Yeah, he's pitched very well for the Reds. And of course the Padres here, they've already traded a couple of relievers. They've moved their closer Brad Hand along with the reliever Simber to Cleveland. And now they're reportedly getting a lot of calls about some of the guys we saw last night. Greg Stammen is a guy that a lot of teams would like to have. And Kirby Yates. This one trying to get down, and how about that? Asuaje chases it down in front of Jankowski. Everybody has to stay put. Nice running over the shoulder catch by the Padres second baseman Carlos Asuaje.
Scary feeling for a second baseman when you turn your back to the infield and running full speed out into the outfield. You know that the outfielder is doing the same thing coming in from his position, but Asuaje never took his eye off that ball, tracked it down, and made a real nice over the shoulder catch.
Buchholz will hit for himself here in the top of the sixth. 2 on, 1 out. Buchholz right now at let's see, what, 72 pitches?
3 maybe.
Gets the bunt down. It stays fair. Ellis picks it up. Asuaje covers, and he moves the runners along.
How about this? This is his 9th start this season for the Diamondbacks. That's his 4th sacrifice bunt. He has shown a real knack for that in his short time here in the National League.
Well, now with 2 outs, you've got second and third. With the leadoff man, David Peralta, due up, but I don't know where he is. There's no one in the on-deck circle. We don't see David in the dugout. Well, there he is right there. Does he know he's up? Here comes Brian Knight, the plate umpire. I need a hitter out here. Here comes Torey Lovullo.
Looks like John Jay's going to take the at bat.
So Jay will hit for Peralta, the left fielder. Hope everything's all right with David. He saw him standing there in the dugout. Maybe this just a move for defense. I don't know. Seemed to catch everybody in the dugout by surprise.
Well, I'm not insinuating anything, but we talked about it the other day. This time of year, when something like this happens, when Jake Lamb came out of the game in Chicago and there was no obvious reason initially, we later found out he had injured his shoulder, but the first thing that pops into your mind is he's been traded. I wouldn't think that would be the case, but we'll wait and see.
So Jay hits for Peralta with 2 outs in the 6th inning. David taking the eye black off, and he's done for the day. That's literally a last-second move. There was no one in the on-deck circle. Peralta wasn't coming out. Brian Knight, the plate umpire, had to go in there and find a hitter. And it's Jay who's down 0-2. John Jay, 277, 3 homers. He's had a big series, 5 hits and 4 RBIs. And he waves at a couple of fastballs and strikes out as Lyle strands 2. Stay tuned from San Diego. David Peralta. We'll try and get you word as to why Peralta had to come out of the game at the last moment like that. As Eric Hosmer leads off the bottom of the 6th. Don't forget, fans, the alumni game is coming up Saturday, August 4 at Chase Field. Former D-back greats Augie Ojeda, Willie Bloomquist, Chris Snyder, a whole lot more will be on hand for the alumni game next weekend, presented by Sanderson Ford. The alumni game festivity started 2 o'clock before the D-backs 20th anniversary celebration, followed by the game against the Giants. All the info at dbacks.com/alumni. Hosmer has grounded out, walked 0 for 1. That one is through and into center. And a ground ball from Hosmer. Got it by Marte. That was hard hit. Leadoff single. Here's Villanueva for 2. I don't recall a game where we've seen Clay Buchholz throw this many breaking balls and this few cut fastballs. The cutter has been his bread and butter pitch this year, but we've barely seen it today. And instead, just a whole bunch of curveballs.
And that could be the plan of attack that Mike Butcher and John Ryan Murphy and Clay Buchholz came up with against this Padres offense before the ball game, or it could be the byproduct of just maybe not feeling that cutter today. Just doesn't have a good grip on it, can't seem to command it where he wants to, but feeling better with the curveball. We've seen a lot of curveballs today.
Well, it's certainly working. Buchholz through 5 innings has held the Padres to only 2 runs. That was a cutter that missed, and now he's behind on Villanueva 2-0. Padres got both their runs in the 3rd. A 2-run double by Will Myers. After a double by Ellis and a single by Manuel Margot, they both came home with a Myers double. That tied the game at 2. D-backs answered in the 4th. Home runs by Pollock and Ahmed. 3 defenders on the left side of the infield. That one caught the corner. Good cut fastball, and it's 2-1. Curveball slipped, 3 balls and a strike, so right away. A leadoff single, now behind on Villanueva 3-1 with Freddie Galvis on deck. Buchholz so far has walked 2. He struck out 5. No one warming up as of yet in the D-back bullpen. And Mike Butcher. Pitch number 80 from Clay Buchholz on the way. Hosmer holds it first, and that's strike 3. Another curveball. 6 strikeouts for Buchholz.
And another curveball up in the upper quadrant of the strike zone right there. Not the desired location for that pitch, but effective against Villanueva in this at bat. Checked his swing. Ball's all over the strike zone anyway.
Well, he struck out Freddie Galvis twice today. 80 pitches for Buchholz, 51 strikes. Hosmer at first and 1 out. Guess what, a curveball. He's really gone off the menu here today. Galvis couldn't check on that fastball away. It's 0-2. Murphy wants a word. A lot of stirring now down there in the bullpen. Mike Butcher on the top step.
I don't know about this one. There's Ryan DePanfilo headed out to the mound once again. John Ryan Murphy saw something right away.
Buchholz is waving Ryan DePanfilo back, but now it's too late. Here they come. Dippy checking in with Murphy. What'd you see? And now Ryan will go check on Buchholz. Remember, he missed a month with that oblique strain. Seems to be just fine out there, joking and laughing. I'll take that as a good sign. No mound visit charge that time. And it's 0-2 on Galvis. Ready, Galvis, 270 consecutive games played. The most in the major leagues. Well, that cutter just missed low, 1-2. Galvis will be a free agent at the end of the year. Big swing and a miss. Galvis strikes out for the third time today. 2 down.
Last at bat, he fouled that ball off his front knee and then took a very feeble, half-hearted swing at strike 3. That time a little more of a swing, but still comes up empty.
7 strikeouts for Clay Buchholz. Here's Carlos Asuaje, who's 0 for 2. 3 defenders on the first base side. Buchholz trying to get through 6. There's action in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like TJ McFarland down there. Curveball's the strike, 0-1. Asuaje right now in an 0 for 19 skid. There's TJ. If you were Carlos Asuaje and you were hitting 216 and you were stuck in an 0 for 19 and they lined up 3 infielders on the right side, wouldn't you start to think about punching it the other way?
Yeah, possibly dropping a bunt, do something. Yeah, when you're mired in a bad 0 for like that, you just want to get off the schneid. You want to get on base again. Remember what it feels like to be a base runner.
When they're giving him the left side, Owings is still basically even with a bag at third, but CO is the only guy over there. There's all kinds of room.
I mean, Asuaje did take a shot to the left side last time up, but hit it right at Chris Owings, right where he's standing.
2 balls and 1 strike. Mike Butcher on the phone with Mike Fetters in the bullpen. McFarland warming up. Padres bullpen gets busy as well. D-backs have out hit the Padres 7-5. They lead it 5-2. Missed away. Full count 3-2. A.J. Ellis on deck. Yoshihisa Hirano will start to get loose along with T.J. McFarland. Yoshi worked 1 inning in the ball game last night through 17 pitches. Here's the 3-2. There goes Hosmer, fouled away. 90 pitches for Buchholz, 57 strikes. Hosmer on the move again, and Buchholz floats a changeup up there for his third walk. Ellis, a dangerous hitter, steps in. Ellis has doubled and walked. Jerry Nair, the bench coach. And now we'll get a mound visit. Looks like Mike Butcher on his way out there. Ellis, the tying run at the plate, and he's a tough out.
As you said, he's very patient, sees a lot of pitches every at bat, will take his walks.
Yeah, he's not going to chase a bad pitch. Now you can see Brian Knight checking in with the crew chief Alfonso Marquez, the third base umpire. And now Mike Butcher having a discussion with Brian Knight. So here we go, 2 on and 2 out for Ellis, who has doubled and walked. Pitcher spot is up next. Jose Pirela is in the on-deck circle. Hosmer at second, Aswahi at first. Ellis hits one out to left and it drops in front of Jay. They're waving Hosmer, and it's 5-3.
Little soft line drive out there into left field. John Jay was coming in as if he might have a play on that ball, but it just died in front of him, and that really eliminated any chance of throwing out Hosmer at home plate. Jay had to come almost to a complete stop out there to field that ball on a big hop. Couldn't get much on the throw.
And now with Pirela set to hit for the pitcher, Torey Lovullo goes to his bullpen. Back from San Diego after this. Padres with 2 on and 2 out. And the new pitcher is the right-hander Yoshihisa Hirano. Yoshi worked the 8th inning last night. Through 17 pitches and a single given up and a strikeout. His 50th appearance of the year. On in relief of Clay Buchholz, who was done after 92 pitches.
Yeah, 20 in this inning, and with a couple runners on base and a run already on the plate for the Padres, just don't want to take any chances of a fatigued Clay Buchholz perhaps making a mistake to a guy that could possibly hit the ball out of the ballpark. So he pulls the plug, and it goes to Yoshi Hirano.
It looked like he was kind of running out of gas during the Asuaje at bat. So here is Pirela to hit for the pitcher Lyles. 259 and 3 homers. He doubled and scored in last night's game, his only hit in the series. Slowly hit up the middle. Ahmed. Little flip to Marte. And Yoshi ends the threat with one pitch, but the Padres get a run. It's 5-3. Scored on A.J. Ellis's RBI hit to make this a 5-3 ball game as we start the 7th inning in San Diego. D-backs looking for the 3-game sweep before we head back home for a nice long homestand at Chase Field. It starts tomorrow night, the first of 2 against the Texas Rangers. Robbie Ray and Zach Godley on the mound. And it's 4 against the Giants, followed by 3 against the Phillies. New pitcher for the Padres. We saw him work 2 innings in the opener here Friday night. The right-hander Robert Stock. His 8th appearance of the year, made his major league debut just last month.
8 2/3 innings pitched in his 7 appearances. 13 strikeouts, is yet to walk a batter.
This is a guy who we saw through Friday night pretty hard. He hit 98, 99 a couple of times. Marte has walked twice, scored a run. He's 0 for 1. That pitch was well off the plate, but it's a slider for a strike. Marte trying to bunt his way on, but it's right back to the mound, and Stock cleans that up. Here comes Goldie. Goldie, a 2-run home run in the first inning, his 23rd of the year. He singled his last time up. D-backs for the moment 1 game behind Los Angeles for the NL West lead. The Dodgers came 1 out away from getting no hit in Atlanta today. Left-hander Sean Newcomb, who we saw on our last visit there, gave up a Chris Taylor single with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Braves won the game though 4-1. Rockies winners today again. They beat the A's 3-2. And right now the Giants have an 8-5 lead over the Brewers. They're in the 7th at AT&T Park. One and one to Goldie. Slider misses away. Goldie sends his batting average drop below 200 back on May 22nd. He's hitting .339. So that's more than 2 months worth of about .340. There's a strike, 2-2.
Pitch out.
Broke the sign back there at 98. A little guy, Stock throws it really hard.
And we talked about Stock on Friday night when he came into the ball game to pitch those 2 innings. He was basically a catcher at USC, but he would come in to close ball games.
He has not walked a batter in the big leagues. He's held opponents scoreless in 5 of his 7 outings so far. He's not given up a walk. He's averaging nearly 14 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. Full count on Goldie, 3-2. And that slider is strike 3. That brings up A.J. Pollock. A.J. has homered and struck out twice, 1 for 3. The home run is 14th of the year. A solo shot to lead off the 4th. Nick Ahmed followed 2 batters later with a 2-run homer. That made it 5-2 D-backs. Padres have answered with 1 in the 6th. 99 on the corner, down and away. Good luck with that. 0-1.
That's a ground ball waiting to happen if you make contact.
Boy, that'll work every time. .99, 1-1. Robert Stock. He's listed at 6'1", 214. I'm not sure I'm buying that. Good slider there, 1-2.
Good combination of pitches. That 99-mile-an-hour fastball with a little bit of tailing action at the very end, and then that hard flat slider working away from the right-handed hitters.
This is a guy that was not drafted out of USC. He was playing independent ball just 2 years ago in the Can-Am Association. He pitched for the New Jersey Jackals in Little Falls, New Jersey. Hooked up with the Reds, and now he's pitching for the Padres. So he has walked the hard road trying to get to the big leagues. He was drafted in the 2nd round, I should say, in 09 by the Cardinals, but released. Since then, he's been with the Astros, the Pirates, the Reds, and now San Diego. 28-year-old right-hander. That one stays fair, and AJ's got a base hit.
Well, that makes up for some of the line drives that AJ's hit right at people.
Yeah.
They've said for years they all even out.
Sure
I still
do.
don't believe that. I'm owed a whole bunch of base hits then.
Steven Souza Jr. now. Steven singled and scored in the 4th. He has struck out twice. Belts that one foul down the left field line. Got a hanging slider.
A little cloud cover here as we move into the latter stages of this ball game. A lot of the guys who were wearing sunglasses when the game started in the bright sunshine have taken them off. Steven Souza had the shades, the wraparound shades on for his first few at bats in this game.
Very nice day here today. Nice and cool. Low to mid 80s, not much of a wind, just a little bit of a breeze off the water. overthrew that fastball. It's a ball and a strike on Souza. Padres in the bottom of the 7th will have the top of the order due up. Jankowski, Margot, Myers, 1, 2, 3. Morano threw one pitch to end the 6th. Bullpen is quiet right now for the D-backs. There's a fly ball to right field. Jankowski. We stretch in San Diego. It's 5-3 Diamondbacks. For Nick, little take me out to the ball game at Petco Park. Yoshi Hirano on to face the top of the order in the 7th after he got the final out of the 6th inning. And here are the D-backs trying to close out a 7-game road trip, 5-2 with their first sweep at Petco Park since April of '06. And a win would improve the Diamondbacks to 7-3 against San Diego this year, and it would pull them to within a half game of the Dodgers NL West lead. So let's get this one. It's a big one. As we approach the stretch drive, August and September almost here.
Not sure what the topic of that conversation is, but Torrey looks like he's either not believing or can't believe what Dave McKay's telling him.
Still no word yet on why David Peralta left the game exactly. We don't certainly believe that he's been traded, but we don't know why he left the game. And we won't speculate until we get some word from Pat O'Connell. Here's Jankowski 0 for 3. Usually it takes 3 or 4 innings so they can check the player out, make sure everything's okay, get some kind of definitive word on exactly what was wrong, and then they let us know. And so when we have the info, we'll let you know. But there's a process to go through. Splitter misses low, a ball and a strike. Jankowski right now stuck in a 3 for 30 stretch. 1 for 8 in the series. Little tapper, Hirano picks it up. Goldie's there, what a winner.
Yoshi Hirano is a good athlete. He gets off that mound quickly on bunts and little choppers like that to the right or left side. He really gets off the mound and fields his position well.
Long-time closer in Japan. He knows what he's doing out there. It's one thing that Diamondbacks over recent years, you got to develop young relievers, and we've seen them do that with the, going back to Enrique Burgos and Jake Barrett and Silvino Bracho and Jimmy Sherfy. That's all well and good, but it's nice to have a grown-up, if you will, out there getting some big outs late in ball games instead of a youngster trying to find his way in the big leagues.
One thing I'm sure astute Diamondbacks fans have noticed, and that's all we really have is astute fans.
Well, duh.
With nobody on base, Yoshi comes to a set position and his hands are the first thing to move. They'll go up above his hat before that leg even comes up off the ground. Now, if I'm on the opposing team watching that, I'm saying, man, we're going to run like crazy on this guy. Because the first thing that moves are his hands and then the legs. So it would be very easy for a base stealer to get a jump. However, Yoshi doesn't use that same delivery with the runner on base. He's very quick to the plate when you get potential base stealers on over there.
143 saves over the previous 5 years for the Oryx Buffaloes in Japan's Pacific League. And now Archie Bradley joins TJ McFarland. TJ has been warming up down there for a while. Here's the fastball for a strike on 3-0 to Manuel Margot. Yoshihisa Hirano, 34 years old. Got a 2-year deal from the D-backs in December and has worked out really, really well. This was a terrific signing. Last year, 29 saves in Japan, just under 60 appearances. And what they liked about him just simply was the stuff, that fastball split combination they thought would play very well at the back end of the bullpen. And it certainly has. Comes back and rings up Margot. He was behind 3 balls and no strikes. 2 down in the 7th.
Yeah, the stuff definitely plays at this level, and also the command. Yoshi rarely pitches himself into trouble. He rarely falls behind in counts.
And even when he was signed, Mike Hazen mentioned what we just referenced, the experience factor with Yoshi Hirano. The D-backs have primarily a younger bullpen, and Yoshi's been getting big outs and closing in Japan for a long time. Here's Will Myers. He has singled and doubled. Myers has the Padres' big hit, a 2-run double in the 3rd that at the time tied the game at 2. After the D-backs had taken a lead on Goldie's first inning home run. That's blistered down the line, but foul, 1-1. Myers having a very big month at the plate, even though his strikeout rate is way up lately. Counting today, 22 games in July. He's got 7 homers and 23 RBIs. So he's had a good month. Goldie is the only D-back defender on the right side of the infield against him. Just barely got a piece of that fastball, and it's 1-2. Hirano trying to work a 1-2-3 7th inning. Craig Stammen, who they think could get traded by Tuesday. He's been down there warming up for a while now in the Padre pen. Elevates, bounces it to third. Owings got to hurry. Throw pulls Goldie off the bag, but the sweep tag. Sweep the leg, Cobra Kai. And they get the out at first. America's first baseman, tough play. Just does get Myers, sends us to the 8th. Rockies 2 games behind the Dodgers. Wind up sweeping Oakland. Tom Murphy for Colorado, a home run. So the Rockies now only 1 game back of LA, tied with the Diamondbacks. The D-backs, if they can hang on, will be a half game back. And the Giants leading Milwaukee 8-5. That's actually, I think at this point, Bob, we root for the Giants rather than the Brewers when you consider the wild card race. D-backs right now fighting the Rockies and the Brew Crew for a wild card spot. But all eyes on the division. A win here would make it a half game behind LA.
Yeah, we talked about the possibility of the Nationals having a fire sale after losing the ball game today and dropping under 500. There's some speculation on the Giants too. They're kind of hovering there, 7.5 behind the Dodgers going into play today, but they need to make a decision whether they're going to compete or not.
Nick Ahmed with his 3rd hit today, leads off the 8th with a single. D-backs picked up some pad runs late last night, 3 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. You'd certainly take some more of that right here. Here's Owings, who's doubled and walked. Trying to take advantage of the Dodger loss in Atlanta. They were almost no hit. Stock back out there. The right-hander is 2nd inning of work. We got to look at him in Friday's opener. He worked 2 innings, gave up just 1 hit, a couple of strikeouts. Diamondback dugout. Pretty quiet down there now compared to earlier. Drops that slider in for a strike. 2-2 on Chris Owings. John Ryan Murphy on deck. Pitcher spot behind him. Archie Bradley warming up in the D-back bullpen. Phil Maton, the right-hander, working in the Padre pen. We saw him in the ball game last night. CO able to check on that slider. It's full 3-2.
Long look down to Tony Parachika at third base to see whether or not Nick Ahmed's going to be on the move over there at first base.
Nick holds it first. CO hits a fly ball deep to center. Margot still backing up. He's on the track. Ahmed at first will hold there. One out for Murphy. John Ryan 0 for 3. Pitcher spot behind him, Daniel Descalso, has come out into the on-deck circle. He would hit for Hirano. Fastball's a strike 0-1. John Ryan stuck in a 2 for 33 right now. He's hitting under 190 since the end of May. So it's been a pretty quiet June and July. Ahmed running on the pitch, and he is out at second.
Well, Nick called himself safe at second base. He's going to stay right there until the Diamondbacks have a chance to look at that replay. We were talking about Yoshi Hirano and how he starts up with his hands with nobody on base, but he's quick to the plate with runners on. Robert Stock has a little something he does with that left shoulder, the front shoulder. Kind of starts to close the front shoulder before he lifts that front foot, and I think that time Nick and Dave McKay over at first base saw that and decided to take a chance.
And they will not challenge the out call. Nick caught stealing. Base is empty, 2 down, and a 1-2 count on Murphy.
Nick still doesn't believe there was a tag applied out there at second base.
They just didn't get an angle they liked. On the ground to Galvis at shortstop. And we head to the bottom of the 8th. Diamondbacks lead the Padres 5-3. For 2 games at Chase Field starting tomorrow night. The Rangers just swept Houston. Watch the end of this play. Jurickson Profar. Yuli Gurriel covering, gets him in the face with a cleat.
Man.
And Profar really got the wrong end of that one. Nowhere for Gurriel to go, covering second over from first. The Rangers won the game 4-3, but boy, Profar took a cleat right in the face. Texas in for 2 starting tomorrow. Robbie Ray against Martin Perez.
Even more reason not to slide head first.
Yeah. Hard to argue that point. Here's Archie Bradley. Archie threw only 8 pitches in getting 3 outs in the 7th inning last night. He'll work the 8th inning. Hosmer, Villanueva, Galvis up 4, 5, and 6 in the Padre 8th. Hosmer has walked, singled, and scored a run. Another first pitch curveball from Archie. We saw him do that a couple of times last night. There's the fastball, and quickly it's 0-2. That curveball, Bob, starting to creep its way back a little bit more often for Archie. He got a little fastball happy there for a while.
We saw a number of outings for Archie where we just didn't even see a curveball. Just all fastballs, 96, 97. That's starting to mix that big bender back in again.
Archie last night got Jankowski, Margot, and Myers 1, 2, 3 in the 7th on just 8 pitches. That fastball misses. 2-2 on Hosmer. Villanueva on deck, then Galvis the shortstop. That's hard and through into right, a base hit, and the Padres will get the tying run to the plate with no outs in the 8th. Hosmer aboard for the 3rd time today. Christian Villanueva, the 3rd baseman, is 0 for 3 and hitless in the series. Right center, that's a base hit. Play on at second. Hosmer had to hold up, and he just does make it in there. And the Padres have something going. 2 on, no outs. The force was on at second. That was awfully close.
It's worth a try. Strong arm by Steven Souza Jr. out there in right field. Looks like Hosmer was able to get the foot on the bag as Nick is really stretching out there like a first baseman trying to get that force play at second.
They're going to challenge the safe call at second. Headsets coming on. Hosmer had to hold halfway between first and second to make sure that Souza wasn't going to make a diving catch. And it was awfully close there at second base. In the meantime, here's a little Chuck Mangione for you.
Don't forget your waiters and waitresses.
Was it Mangione or Mangione?
Mangione, I believe. Yeah, it seems appropriate that Steven Souza Jr., right fielder, trying to throw out a runner on a force play on the bases. That was one of Vladimir Guerrero's signature plays in right field in his days with the Expos, especially with opposing pitchers that would get a base hit into right field. They'd be cruising down the first base line, feeling pretty good about themselves, and Guerrero would scoop up the ball and gun him out at first base.
Vlad Guerrero inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown today. Showing a replay on the video board. All the players are looking up. Boy, that's really close.
It really is.
Certainly worth a challenge at this point in the ball game with a 2-run lead in the 8th.
What a huge swing that would be if the Diamondbacks can get this call.
Yeah.
Instead of first and second, nobody out, you'd have a runner at first and 1 out. Potential double play ball to get out of the inning.
I think this is our best angle.
Notice the right foot up in the air above the base.
Wow. Ooh, that's a pretty good case right there. By the way, we have, while we're waiting, news on David Peralta. David, Pat O'Connell from the D-backs tells us, had to leave the game with right shoulder tightness. Tightness in his right shoulder for David Peralta. Replaced in left field by John Jay.
Oh, they banged it.
How about that? An enormous play. The safe call overturned. The D-backs win the challenge as Souza throws out Hosmer at second base.
And take away the base hit from Christian Villanueva. That turns into a fielder's choice. 9-6. 9-4. No, 9-6. Ahmed took the throw, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep, you are correct. Wow, that's a big play.
Big play.
Souza charged and showed off that big arm. So here's Galvis now, 1 on, 1 out. Still the tying run at the plate for the Padres. Galvis struck out all 3 times he faced Clay Buchholz today.
Well, once again, I don't know if we say it enough. A tip of the cap to Alan Campbell down there in the video room. He's rarely wrong.
The Diamondbacks have an excellent track record on their challenges, and Alan Campbell's a big reason why. The main reason why. There's a fly ball, deep left field. John Jay's at the wall, and it's off the wall. Villanueva coming home. Here's the throw, and he is out of there. Now they say safe.
Yeah, I think John Ryan dropped the baseball.
The initial call was out. Ryan Knight changed the call, and now he's conferring with some of the other umpires. Here comes Torey Lovello. Galvis just missed an opposite field home run. Villanueva coming around third, initially ruled out, and now it's conference time out there.
Nice job by A.J. Pollock to get over there and back up the play. Not sure what Villanueva was thinking right there. Yeah, the ball's underneath John Ryan Murphy. Just came out of the glove as he went to dive and apply that tag. Never had control of the baseball.
And that ball blocked from the view of Brian Knight, the umpire. Now Andy Green is checking in. And they're going to take a look.
I think they may be asking for a boundary call out there in left field.
Galvis hit the ball deep to left field. It's 5-4 on the board right now. That's off the top corner of that white line.
And once again, tip of the cap to A.J. Pollock to hustle over there from center field as John Jay pursued that ball all the way back to the barrier. It ricocheted, and A.J. was right there to play the carom.
So right now it's 5-4. If this gets overturned, it's a tie ball game.
That play by Steven Souza Jr. comes back in a big way, off the glove and then off the top of the wall.
Oh, boy.
Man.
It's turned into a very eventful bottom of the 8th inning. It looks like it literally hit the corner seam.
Well, the shocking thing is Freddie Galvis almost hit an opposite field home run.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, here we go. That is a double. So it stays 5-4. So it's an RBI double for Galvis. Villanueva scores. Galvis now the tying run at second base, 1 out. And Mike Butcher's out to the mound. Carlos Asuaje will be the hitter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Archie's got some work to do here, trying to strand the tying run at second with a 1 out. D-backs will put the shift on. 3 infielders on the first base side against Asuaje. Fastballs, a strike 0-1. Waves at a fastball. Now A.J. Ellis is the on-deck hitter. And you may recall at a game at Miami Marlins Park last year. It was June, and A.J. Ellis had a 14-pitch at bat against Archie Bradley before he finally drove the go-ahead single into center field. So we may be getting ready for the rematch right there. 1-2 on a Suahe. Chafin starts to get loose. Still a ball and 2 strikes on the Padres second baseman. Suahe walked his last time up. He is hitless in his last 19 at bats. Keeps firing fastballs up there, and now it's full. Ellis on deck, pitcher spot behind him.
He jumped ahead 0-2 with a couple of high fastballs to a Suahe, but he's laid off since those first 2 pitches.
Putting up a pretty good fight here. Got him. 2 outs.
Just kept pounding away with fastballs across the top of the zone that entire at bat to Carlos Suahe. As I mentioned, jumped ahead 0-2. He fouled off 1, took a couple, ends up chasing another one up out of the zone for strike 3.
Well, it's already been a great day for A.J. Ellis. Doubled and scored in the 3rd, walked in the 4th, an RBI single in the 6th. Ellis last year as a Miami Marlin, a 14-pitch at bat against Archie Bradley late in the ball game that delivered the game-winning hit. Pitcher spot up next, Hunter Renfroe in the on-deck circle for the Padres. Archie in that at bat last year in Miami against Ellis would not give in. It was one fastball after another. 98, 97, 98, 99. And Ellis finally won the battle. He fouled off 10 pitches in that at bat. He's ahead 2-0.
Ain't throwing nothing else.
Might as well swing.
Had a similar bat against Don Robinson when he was pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Got to a 2-strike count, and that must have pulled 8 or 9 balls foul down the third baseline, all fastballs. And after the 9th, when Don Robinson walked halfway to home plate, says, I ain't going to throw nothing else.
Well, Archie in that 14-pitch at bat threw 1 curveball. Everything else fastballs. Missed at 96, and it's 2-1. Padre bullpen Maton, the right-hander, down there with Kirby Yates. Both those guys pitched in the ball game last night. Galvis, the tying run at second, 2 outs in the 8th. Boy, Archie's missing up with all these heaters. It's 3 balls and a strike. Renfroe on deck. Ellis, as we mentioned, a very patient hitter, sees a lot of pitches up there. Another fastball, that one in, and it's full. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Archie Bradley and A.J. Ellis. Called strike 3. He got him. A fastball just above the knees. Archie strands the tying run. It's 5-4. D-backs with 3 home runs. They have a 5-4 lead. As we start the 9th inning, new pitcher for the Padres. We saw him in the ball game last night. Right-hander Phil Maton. Pitcher spot will lead it off for the D-backs. Descalso will hit. Then it's John Jay and Ketel Marte. The numbers on Maton this year. Maton had a bumpy ride in the 8th inning last night. Gave up a single to Nick Ahmed. And then a walk to Chris Owings. They both scored on a John Jay 2-run double. That was the difference of the ball game. So Descalso will hit for Bradley. Daniel 264, 9 homers. In the series, he has singled twice, walked twice, and scored 3 times. Descalso in 30 plate appearances, hitting just over .330 as a pinch hitter. That's with 1 home run. 1-1. That was quite a half inning. A little bit of everything.
A lot going on.
1 overturned call, 1 non-overturned call, and an out call at the plate that got changed to safe.
And a base hit to right field that turned into a 9-6 fielder's choice.
All kinds of scratches in cross out. Looks like your World Cup bracket. 2-1 on Descalso. Maton's just kind of floating 91-mile-an-hour fastballs up there, but Daniels missed 2 of them. 2-2, John Jay on deck. David Peralta had to leave the ball game today midway through with right shoulder tightness. Here's the 2-2. Well, Descalso lately, as he's shown, he will take a walk. He has walked 14 times in his last 14 games. Popped it up. Being a waiver from third's got it 1 away. So here's John Jay, the former Padre. He struck out in his first at bat after running out there to hit for Peralta, who had to leave the ball game, as we mentioned. 5 hits and 4 RBIs in the series. He knocked in 3 runs last night. Had an RBI ground out in the second. That big 2-run double in the 8th inning off Yates. That gave the D-backs the lead for good. Broke up a 4-4 tie.
Well, they give John Jay a lot of room in that gap in right center, as well as down that right field line. Hunter Renfroe way over in the gap in right center, leaving a lot of room down the right field line. Another Travis Jankowski out there in right field.
Here's the infield defense. You see Manuel Margot in center, shaded over toward left center. Jay likes to go there a lot. This is that fastball. 2-2. Ketel Marte, the on-deck hitter. Padres in the home half of the 9th have the pitcher spot due up. Then Jankowski and Margot, 9-1-2. That's fouled away. Brad Boxberger, the closer, warming up in the D-back bullpen. Full count on John Jay, 3-2. So Maton has worked it full on both batters he's faced so far. It's a little tapper back to the mound. 2 outs. Ketel Marte today 0 for 2. He has walked twice and scored a run. .247 batting average. The switch hitter from the left-hand side, that average of this year about .225. Breaking balls, a strike, 1-1. Well, if they don't tack on a run or two here, this will be a big outing for Brad Boxberger, trying to bounce back from Thursday in Chicago. And they gave up the home runs to Bodie and Rizzo.
This might be the first time I've ever been to Petco Park where there are actually more Trevor Hoffman jerseys than Tony Gwynn jerseys in the stands.
Well, this would be the day for it. Trevor time in Cooperstown today, or Trevor's time, as they like to say now. inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame along with Vlad Guerrero and Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, Alan Trammell, Jack Morris. 1-2 on Ketel Marte. That's punch foul.
And congratulations to all, especially Jim Thome. I've had a chance to know Jim over the years and play golf with him a few times, which was quite the experience. Let me just say that. Matt Williams, Kurt Manwaring, myself, and Jim Thome in a foursome.
Did he just try and Happy Gilmore it all the
Oh,
time?
did he ever? He was out of golf balls on the 7th hole. He just rode around, drank beer the rest of the day.
Well, Maton works a 1-2-3 ninth. Boxberger on his way in with a 1-run lead. And Brad Boxberger, who pitched his first 2 big league seasons with the Padres, on to try and close out a 5-4 lead following the meltdown in the 9th inning in Chicago on Thursday afternoon. The back-to-back homers by Bodie and Rizzo. Rizzo's walk-off almost onto Sheffield. And the D-backs settled for a split of that 4-game series. And Brad, a big opportunity right here to bounce back from that.
Yeah, besides good stuff, one of the most valuable attributes a closer can have is a short memory. It's going to happen from time to time. Anthony Rizzo, a real good hitter, went to the plate looking for that straight changeup, got one and golfed it out of the ballpark for the game winner. That's going to happen from time to time.
Well, Brad got his first major league save with the Padres back in 2013. And then it was several seasons, 4 in Tampa Bay, and now looking for this one as the D-backs try and get the 3-game sweep. Pitcher spot leads it off, and powerful hitting right-hander Hunter Renfroe will be the pinch hitter. Renfroe 234, 7 homers, 0 for 4 last night. He struck out twice. After that, top of the order, Jankowski and Margot. Brad Boxberger was originally a first-round draft choice by the Cincinnati Reds back in '09 out of USC. Padres got him in a deal for Yasmani Grandal. He was part of the package that San Diego got in return for Matt Latos. That was back before the 2012 season. Yonder Alonso, Yasmani Grandal, Edinson Volquez, and Brad Boxberger, all for Matt Latos. There's the strike, 1-2. Renfroe, 45 hits this year, more than half for extra bases. He's always a threat to take you deep. Ooh, boy, that was a beautiful changeup right there. Brian Knight didn't bite. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Another changeup. Unfortunately, that went up enough that Renfroe got a good look at it, got a piece to stay alive.
Torey Lovello adamant about sticking with Brad Boxberger as the closer. We'll see if it pays off here today. Fastball missed, and it's full 3-2. Jankowski on deck. He's 0 for 4. Three and 2 to Hunter Renfroe. Foul ground, first base side. Long way to go for Goldie. And he just can't quite get there.
Now you mentioned Hunter Renfroe, the kind of guy that can leave any ballpark against anybody. He's got that kind of power. There's a fun fact on the big board out in left center field. He's the only player to homer onto the roof of the Western Metal Supply Company building. He's done it twice. That's a blast.
Oh, he can check. Boxberger got the fastball up and in, and Renfroe strikes out to start the ninth.
Brad Boxberger a favor right here. That pitch isn't close to the strike zone, but Hunter Renfroe in swing mode with a 2-strike count just couldn't check.
And Renfroe, despite all that power, has never had much plate discipline. Here's Jankowski, the leadoff man. Yeah, struck out and grounded out 3 times. A reminder, stay tuned immediately following the ball game. It's the D-backs 20th anniversary team special, produced by Josh Kellman, only right here on Fox Sports Arizona, right after our game today. No post-game show. You are free to go after this. Boxberger behind 2-0. Obviously, you don't want base runners here, especially Jankowski. He can really run. 2-2. We chased a changeup well off the plate that time. And Margot, who singled and scored in the third, will be next. He's the Padres' hottest hitter right now. There's the changeup and the strikeout. 2 down. So it's up to Margot. D-backs 1 out away from a 3-game sweep in San Diego. And Margot, the center fielder, 1 for 4.
Margot homered against Zach Greinke in the first game of this series on a changeup off the plate inside and down below the knees. Just golfed it out of here down the left field line. Don't throw that pitch again.
Fastball down and away, in there for a strike. Margot right now riding a career best 10-game hitting streak. Boxberger a strike away. Changeup misses down low, 1-2. the ground to Ketel Marte. Boxberger the save, and the D-backs get the sweep. A big bounce-back performance for the Diamondback closer. And they finish up this 7-game road trip, 5-2, and a sweep in San Diego.
Good road trip for the Diamondbacks. We mentioned that 4-game series in Chicago very easily could have been a 4-game sweep. Diamondbacks played extremely well on the north side of Chicago and come in here to San Diego and sweep their division rivals. Nice going.
And they are now 7-3 versus the Padres this year. D-backs have won 6 of their last 8 overall. And even more impressively, 19 of their last 26 on the road. They move within a half game of